So grade 12s, we're on our 5th day of sinusoidal functions, and I've only got 2 examples today. Our goal is that if we're given the graph or a description of the properties of a function, that we would be able to determine the equation. So first one we're going to look at is the equation, and we're going to look at all the bits and pieces and see if we can go backwards. So for this one, when I would draw it, I would work from left to right. So let's talk about it left to right as well. This is a vertical expansion or stretch factor 2, which changes my amplitude. So my amplitude for this one is 2. So from rest, up to and down to. This number here will help us find the period. It is a horizontal expansion or compression, so that will help us find the period. Actually, I'm going to change colors. So the period we always get from that horizontal stretch or compression, and we would do is 360 divided by that number. So we're doing 360 divided by 360 over 5. Okay, none of you like dividing fractions, but we have 360 divided by 5 is the same as multiplied by the reciprocal. You will get 5. So the period is 5. Then we have 2 translations. This will be to the right 3 and up 4. Let's look at one now that we are working backwards. So we have a graph. Let's write all of the things that we see and see if we can come up with the equation. First of all, I see that this thing has an amplitude of 1, just like normal. The period is how long it takes to do one cycle. So the cycle for this thing is a high, down to a low, back to a high again to the starting point, will take 10 units. This has not been moved up at all, so there's not a vertical translation upwards. And since it starts at a high, it looks like a cos function. So there are no translations up or left-right if I'm going to use a cos function. So my equation is going to be, I cut the bare bones. I need to put the right numbers in the right spot. So if I had x plus a number, I would have a horizontal translation, and I don't have any. So I know that I'm not going to have any add-ons to x or add-ons at the very end of the equation. So I am looking for 2 numbers. One here, which will come from my amplitude, and one right in front of x that will tell me my period. The amplitude for this one is 1, so that's kind of boring. And then the period is 10. So I need a number right here that if I were to do 360 divided by that number, I would get 10. That number will have to be 36. So the equation for this graph is y equals cos 36x. The best way to do these is to do some yourselves. So we're going to have you do page 36, 37, number 1 to 7. And there's the handout that I have answers on the back, and it is probably a better starting point.